And say, welcome everyone to our midweek exhale this week. My name is Sharyn, and I am one half of the Exhale Awakening, and I am one half of the Exhale Awakening flying solo today. So you have me for the full breathwork. But we are still following the same pattern that we always follow in our breathworks. So our breathworks begin with birdsong. They then move into the breath before we finish with some silence. And there's good reason for all of that. The bird song kind of tunes into our primitive brain, our early brain, and just lets us know that there are no predators around. Because if there were predators around, then the birds would have skedaddled. So that bird song just gives us the indication that it's safe and it's okay for you to be here. We're going to breathe with three different breaths today. Sorry, four different breaths today. And it's like a little bit, today's a little bit like a reminder of some breaths that we've done before, and maybe some of the breaths that over the festive period you might have forgotten about, or we get busy and we've focused a lot in recent weeks on rest and your natural breath. So we just wanted to introduce some different breaths into the session. So we're going to do awareness to start with, but we're going to intersperse it with some lung stretches. And I'll guide you through those and tell you what it is that we need to do. And this was the first breath I was ever introduced to. And I was introduced to it as the Spiritus breath. And it's the way that it's a breath that kind of enables us to connect to our life force. And then when we've done that, we're going to move into connected breath through the nose. And again, I'll guide you in that. Before we move into 4-7-8 breathing with a little bit of breath holding, really good for anxiety, that one. And then we're going to finish with coherence breathing. And after each one of these breaths, there will be a 2-minute period of silence. And that 2-minute period of silence gives our brain time to catch up with what has happened in our bodies. And it allows us to build new neural pathways. And we want you to be able to bring new neural pathways to your being that that support your rest and support your nervous system. So we only have one rule here, and that is be comfortable. So if during the breath work you feel like you need to adjust your physical position, then go right ahead and do that. It's not one of those breath works where you have to be still and focused and not moving. So if you feel like you want to, then go ahead. We would just say don't stand up though, because sometimes some of the breaths can kind of make you feel a little dizzy, and it's not great to stand up without knowing that your feet are firmly on the ground. And although we say be comfortable, and a lot of you have heard this already, although we say be comfortable, we also remind you that this is breath work. So sometimes our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, even bodily sensations can come up when we're breathing. And there's a fine line between kind of suppressing things or not and allowing things and pushing through and going into endurance. So we're looking for you to sit with anything that comes up, really, and just spend a little bit of time with it. And if it really truly is uncomfortable and you don't want to sit with it, then by all means back off. Quite often when you just give it some time and you sit with it for a little bit, then the discomfort moves through you and it just wanted to be witnessed. So, tread lightly with that fine line between not engaging and kind of pushing through, and find that nice middle ground. So I think it's very strange not having Marie nodding at me, but I think that's all I have to say right now. So make yourselves comfortable, and we will we will get started. So just begin to notice your breath. You can do your breath work whether seated or lying down. And just notice the surface that you're on and your connection to that surface. And maybe you can feel your sitting bones. Maybe you can feel your shoulders. And just notice the places in your body where you are supported by that surface. And that surface in turn is supported by the earth. And take a moment just to acknowledge that connection. And notice how you're feeling. Perhaps you arrived with some of the cares of today. And maybe you might want to let those cares just stay outside the door, just for now. You can pick them up later if you need to, if you really need to. But certainly you're okay for an hour or so to leave them behind. And notice the thoughts that are moving through your mind. And I'm not going to ask you to clear your mind. They're welcome, that's their job. They're just doing what they need to. And just say hi, just acknowledge they're there. And notice whether your breath is coming through your nose or through your mouth, maybe a mix of the two. And we're going to introduce a lung stretch. And we're going to breathe in through the nose to the tops of our lungs, and we're going to pause for a little. And then we're going to sip in a little bit more breath through the nose before we exhale through the mouth, just letting our lungs empty fully, and then pausing a little at the bottom before we repeat. So, on your next exhale, just rest there a little while. And in 3, 2, 1, inhaling up to the top of your lungs, and hold. Sip in a little bit more air. Hold. And then exhale through the mouth. Rest there a moment before you inhale again through the nose, filling up your lungs, pausing before you breathe in again, and maybe a sip more before you exhale through the mouth. And just resting a little at the bottom of that breath. Taking your next natural breath when you're ready. And invite you to 2 more lung stretches before we move into the silence. So just letting yourself exhale and resting at the bottom of the breath. And in 3, 2, 1, inhaling to the top of your lungs, holding, sipping in a little bit more, holding, and then exhaling. And once more, inhaling to the top, pausing for a little before you sip in some more. Sip a little bit more, and then exhale. And letting your breath return to its natural rhythm as we go into the silence. And as the birds gently bring the silence to a close, just noticing how it felt to be in silence. Noticing how your body felt. And how it felt in your mind, and any sensations you might have experienced. Letting that awareness just sit, we can look at it again later as we introduce the next breath. So for our next breath, we're going to breathe a connected breath through the nose. I'm going to invite you to actively engage your inhale. It's not a pulling and it's not heavy. Just be really aware of your inhale, as if you are receiving what is on offer from the field of potential. And then just gently let go of your exhale. No effort, no pushing, just a gentle release. And we're going to connect those breaths like a wave. So your inhale becomes your exhale, and your exhale becomes your inhale. And we're going to do this through the nose, your inhale and your exhale. So as the music begins, just bringing your attention to your breath. Noticing the inhale and setting the intention that on the inhale you receive. And as you get to the top of the inhale, just letting it go. And on the exhale, you release. Receive and release. And you find the rhythm that suits you. Making sure your exhale is just a gentle release. Consciously bringing in your inhale and receiving, and gently letting go on your exhale and releasing. Connecting your breath like the waves of an ocean, moving in and moving out. Just allowing your breath in and out through the nose, actively receiving on the inhale and gently releasing on the exhale. And as the music picks up some speed, maybe your breath might, or maybe it might stay exactly where it is. Feel into what you want to do, what your body needs. And on your next exhale, just letting your natural rhythm return to your breath as we prepare once again to go into the silence. And as the bird song brings our silence to a close, just noticing how that felt. Maybe it felt a little different to the silence we've just had. Maybe slower, maybe faster. Maybe even a mix of both. And we're going to move now into our next breath, 4, 7, 8 breath. Now the numbers are not so important, but I will guide it a little at the beginning. But we are effectively inhaling for 4. We're going to hold the breath for 7. And then we're going to exhale for 8. Now don't worry if the hold is maybe too long, or your inhale is a bit shorter or whatever. The important thing is that you extend your exhale. So we're going to inhale, we're going to hold, and we're going to exhale. And you do that at whatever rhythm suits you, but I am going to guide the first couple of breaths with the rhythm of 4, 7, 8. And if you want to stay with that throughout, then you can go right ahead. So as the music begins, just pausing at the bottom of your next exhale. And then we're going to inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And inhale, exhale, hold, and exhale. Inhale, hold, exhale. And follow that rhythm if it's good for you, or relax into your own rhythm, inhaling, holding, and then an extended exhale. And if your mind has wandered, just coming back to the breath. Inhale, hold, and exhale. Nice and gentle, nice and long. We're into our last minute now, before we return again to the silence. So maybe 2 more rounds. On your next exhale, just letting your breath return to its natural rhythm. And as the birdsong brings us back from the silence, just reflecting once again. Maybe that silence felt different after the extended breath holds. Maybe your body is acclimatizing to them now. Or maybe not. Maybe somehow it felt awkward. Just noticing what it felt like for you. As we move into our final breath. And we've done a little bit of work today. We've expanded our lungs. We have activated our airways, and we have calmed them again. And now I'm going to invite you to coherence breathing, to bring balance and harmony back to the work that we've done and back to your nervous system. So we're going to match your inhale to your exhale. And I'm going to use the count of 4. And you can count with me in your mind. You could even whisper out loud. You could just use your fingers, bringing each finger in turn to the tip of your thumb, each fingertip to the tip of your thumb. And if 4 doesn't work for you, then take it down to 3 or take it up to 5 or 6 and find the rhythm that suits you. But we'll do 3 together. So just exhaling fully. Before we inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. And exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale and exhale. Coming back to that gentle, balanced rhythm, matching your inhale with your exhale. And we're a little over halfway through now, so maybe you might be able to change the rhythm and perhaps add a count to the rhythm you're using and deepen the breath just a little. inviting balance and harmony into your breath, into your body. And on your next exhale, just letting your natural rhythm return. And just noticing if there's any change in that rhythm as we go into the last silence. And as the birdsong brings that silence to a close and signals the end of our breathwork session today, just spending a few moments to reflect on how you were at the beginning of the session, how each of the breaths were. They were a little more work today, and how the silence has felt in contrast. And you're invited to bring some movement into your fingers, into your toes, maybe stretching. Noticing again your connection to the surface that you're on, whether that's your sit bones, your shoulders, your back, your heels maybe if you're laid down. And remembering the room that you're in. And if your eyes are closed, just imagining it around you and your place in the room. And then gently blinking, open your eyes and taking a look around at the colours and the textures. And some of your favourite things in the room. And as you're just bringing yourself back, before we stop the recording, I will just bring your attention to the notices that I posted into the chat. They will be underneath if you're looking at the recording. And the recording for this session will go into two places for free. It goes into our community. And if you haven't joined us over there yet, then the link is there for the community. And we also pop them onto YouTube, but of course, depending on your subscription, there may be ads there, but they are still there available for free. Our next ticketed event is on Sunday, and it's a 3-hour workshop, the Deeper Exhale, and starts at 6 p.m. And we are exploring the wisdom of the birch tree, the silver birch tree. So we'd love to see you there if you can make that. And our next Anchoring the Exhale is on Friday, the 23rd of January. And in that one, we're looking at the sun's whispers as it moves through Aquarius. Now, our online directory listing is there. If you haven't already, or it's your first time, we would love to hear from you. And you can click in there and leave a review, or you can click in there and get in touch with us by message. Oh, and one final thing, this is exciting. We have scheduled our retreats for this year, and we have 4 happening in, well, no, 3 now this year. 3 happening in Donegal in Southern Ireland, and 3 happening in Yorkshire, just outside of York, just north of York. So if you are interested in coming along to either of those, we've just opened the wait lists. We'll be holding them on each of the Celtic festivals, and there'll be seasonal retreats with lots of breath work and lovely Celtic wisdom and exploration. So we'd love to see you there if you'd like to join us. Obviously, joining the waiting list does not obligate you to come along. It just means that you'll get first option on the tickets when they do go live. And yeah, so that's everything. I'm going to unpin myself in a moment and stop the recording. But before I do, if you're listening to this on recording, well, if you're listening in the room too, do take care of yourself. Whenever we engage in breathwork, it has ongoing effects. It has ongoing impact that perhaps we're not always aware of in the moment. So drink lots of lovely liquids, eat lots of nourishing food, and take care of your well-being in whatever way suits you. And on that note, I'm going to stop the recording